Good morning and welcome back to our Wednesday issue. My name is Leanne Jahi and this is a different perspective. Today we're going to talk about something that we tend to do either consciously or unconsciously, and we downplay the effects of it, or we don't understand to what extent the effects of it get. And most of us, I think it's a phase, or maybe it's part of the self-awareness, coming to know yourself, that you get to go through this stage. And once you are aware about it, then you can consciously choose to do something about it. And this is overestimating ourselves. We falsely or inaccurately estimate our own selves. And when we do that, we do it with a lot of bias, okay? So most of the times we find ourselves in situations that we've clearly overestimated ourselves, and it's something that we are so well aware about it, but we don't want to have that honest conversation with ourselves. And the reasons why most of us, time and again, we overestimate ourselves is because of ego, lack of self-awareness, and lack of proper self-assessment. We tend to place our bar higher than we are able to live up to it. And I don't know, maybe because we want to be looked at differently, or we want to be perceived in a certain way that is not sustainable by ourselves, to ourselves, because at the end of the day, you need to make sure you have a proper, healthy relationship with yourself. And when we overestimate ourselves, it really doesn't improve our credibility or our self-awareness out there. And people can see through that. When we overestimate ourselves, what essentially happens is we stand in the way for our own learning process. We stop ourselves from being better, from growing, and in just constantly improving. When you overestimate ourselves, we lose sight of what we are like, what our current limitations are, and how it takes away from you the chance to be able to, grow and go past the limits that are there for yourself. I'll give you an example of a situation of how we overestimate ourselves. Let's say there's a topic of discussion, or you're in a space where you are with your peers, and a conversation comes up, or you guys find yourself in a certain space, then you need to talk about something. You have very minimal knowledge or know-how around the skill that is needed, and there's a very big difference between confidence and overestimation. Okay. But instead of you admitting to yourself that clearly I don't have enough knowledge, or I don't have enough skill set to perform a certain task or to engage in a certain topic, you don't. Instead, you then engage, and what you're putting out there, or whatever you're doing, someone can clearly tell you have no idea, or you have no experience in the skills that is being required, or you don't have enough knowledge in the topic of discussion. And personally, I say this is one of those things we do to self-sabotage. When you overestimate yourself, essentially, what you're telling yourself is we cannot have a very clear and honest introspect to see how much of ourselves needs improvement. You take away the growth aspect, you take away the space that needs to be worked on from you. So at the end of the day, it's a willful blindness to your own flaws. Yeah? If really life is about evolving and allowing ourselves to grow from one stage to another, if life is really about becoming and or achieving or arriving, then we really have to be honest with ourselves. And right now, with the social media being easily accessible, we feel like if we've had a certain audience, then we are at this level na tufikiwi. So sometimes when you're asked, somebody is looking to engage your energy, And let me use a very clear example of influencers, and I don't want this to be taken out of context. Let's say you are an influencer, but then you don't understand to what extent you actually influence people. Maybe you're just influencing people within your locality, within your radius, and because they've hyped you up, it goes to your head and think, well, you're reaching everyone. Yet in clear sense, you've not taken time to take stock and estimate and have very good data on your reach. So when you go out there and somebody asks you, do you want to come on board? What are you? When you're presenting your red card doesn't actually, or you fail to convert your reach to monetary or to results that people can see. But this is not a conversation we want to have, because we easily flip it instead of just being honest. Yeah. So I think it's very important. It's very important for all of us to be able to analyze ourselves critically with a lot of honesty, and know that when we are overestimating ourselves, because when you're overestimating yourself, it gives you unnecessary pressure on the delivering end. If you fail to deliver, then, and people trusted you with some work or something to get accomplished, and you don't, that in turn tampers with your own credibility. Okay, you need to be able to take up a challenge, one that you can execute properly and deliver on results without having to bite more than you can chew. Okay? If we really want to improve, if we really want to make right decisions all around in our lives, then we have to keep tweaking and turning and doing self-introspect, knowing the times that we overestimate ourselves. And why are we overestimating ourselves? Is it because of our ego? Or is it because we are living in false persona? I'm not sure that if that's how we should use that line, but saa zingine tunajichochanga sana. Chocha ni fiti kama you need psych, but unaweza jipata umejichocha sana mpaka ile job ulikuwa umepewa kufanya you can't deliver on it. Yeah, you falsely buy people's trust, and that is hard to come by. You falsely buy people's trust and you get people to bank on you, and then you fail to deliver, and then you want to be angry with other people and not take accountability on your end. How do we get to progress? Tutasongaje mbele kama kila time we are blowing our own trumpets, tunajichocha more than necessary? If truly we understand that anything worthwhile, anything meaningful in this life does take time, then it means you get from a point of being an amateur, you get to a point where you learn stuff. When you overestimate yourself, you rob yourself from learning. You take away so much possibility and potential from yourself, and then you want to blame other people for that. The day you stop learning, the day you stop improving yourself, that is the day you are dead. We have to agree that there's some things, there's some known unknowns, there's some unknowns. We don't know anything. All we know is a drop. What we don't know is an ocean. So every time we should always remember that if you truly want to self-improve and become more self-aware of yourself, you need to know where your limits are. And knowing your limits is not such a terrible thing. It's a practical, honest conversation, because then you know how far you can push yourself. And do you have a gauge to estimate how well you're doing? But how can you assess yourself to know how well you're doing, how fast you're moving, if you're constantly overestimating yourself? Sometimes we just overestimate ourselves because we want our peers to think we are doing better than we are actually doing. that illusory life has a very short shelf life. Yeah, it decays too quick because it's not sustainable. It's a facade that just goes. And where's the wrong in just honestly living your own truth? Where's the wrong in that? You lose nothing. Kama kimeumana tu. When you can't do something, just honestly say it. Yeah? I think it takes more courage to own up to your truth than create a false persona. I think it takes more courage. So, on this day moving forward, I want you to know that it's okay not to know everything. That it's okay that we get to fuck up. That it's okay that we're not moving in the same pace as our peers are. That it's okay that some job zinatupita. Tusitaka kufanya kila kitu alafu we end up under delivering. Yeah? That it's okay that some doors are shut. That it's okay that some opportunity are not for us. Yeah? So what instead you do is the shortcomings that you realize you have, you work on them. You improve on them. So next time when the opportunity comes, you're able to stand in confidence and say, yes, right now I can partake this. I will give you a key example. One of the very good hotels in Kisumu once approached me to supply them with fresh juices. And at that time, I knew I had good juices, but I didn't have the capacity. So in as much as I would have told them I can do this, this, and this, what it would have required of me to move certain parts was more than I was able to take care of in that time. Yeah? So when they asked me, are you able to deliver 100 liters of juice? I was honest with them and tell them, in this stage where I am not able. And that is not kusema ati umeona opportunity, you've not taken it. There's some level of business where before people can trust you with it, they have to come and assess your place. Eh? They have to come and look at where you do your production. Are you fit? Do you meet the criteria? Do you meet their standards? Yeah? If you blindly say yes just because you want to, then when they come and there's a mismatch, they cannot trust you. And sometimes business, pali biashara inafikanga, saa zingine una move, but your own word, unakulia jina yako, unakulia, because people know that they can trust your word. So when you can't, it's okay to say that I cannot. Then you go work on the things that limit you. Then come back. Right now, if they approached me and asked me, Leah, can you deliver 100 liters every day? I will confidently say yes. Because I have a facility that is fully equipped to take care of that capacity without disappointing or compromising on quality. But ningesema hiyo time, ningelemewa. Alafu, biashara yapa hivi mbele ningeikosa kwa sababu nilikuwa naitaka yote saa hiyo. It's very, utazima hiyo tap kidogo. It's very important that we do a truthful and honest self-assessment and become very aware of how much we can put out there that is sustainable. Okay? I hope we take time. We just take time to just do the self-analysis and do better. Okay? If you have constantly overestimated yourself, you know you don't have a proper relationship with yourself, because when you're not able to deliver on your end, there's a certain deficit that comes in that you have to sort, and then you always wonder where this deficit is coming from. Most of the times it's just coming from you overestimating yourself. There's nothing wrong in not knowing. There's nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong in saying, hapa sitawezana. There's nothing wrong in that. But until we start having these conversations with ourselves, there's no one is going to whoop out a magic wand and take away that false image you have of yourself. You have to do the work. You have to put in the work. TikTok. I'll continue live on this end, but I hope that does really help. If you're looking to self-improve, if you're looking to just do better for yourself, what that entails is having genuine and honest conversations with yourself. And being honest in your self-analysis. I know I've said that one too many times, but it's important. And no one is going to do it for you. See, that's the thing. And you don't say, oh, when I get to a certain age, that's when I get to do it. No, say easy today. This is the best chance you have at changing anything. Yeah? And then do it again tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. With the things that you do daily are the things that build up your habit. And those are the things that translate to your character. So if change has to really happen, then it has to happen in the most simple. You have to start with the very simple things. And then become aware. When you know you're overestimating yourself, retract your step. Yeah? Retract. Somebody told me a story. Unaona venye wase YouTube have like 1 million followers and then they're asked to come and promote a certain brand. The conversion rates has a match up followers nye wako nayo. Yeah? Has a match up. So right now, I think industries and companies they would rather come to someone who has 1,000 convertible followers as opposed to somebody who has millions of followers who cannot be converted. I don't know if you dig what I'm saying. But if you do, then that tells you people can see through an overestimation. And sometimes we don't know that we're overestimating ourselves. We don't. So this whole process of self-work is consistent consciousness in everything you do. See it too, by the way. It's consistent alertness and intent in everything that you do. Nikazi. But then the price you pay for the alternative is so much higher than the work you will need to, or the effort you'll need to put in to work on yourself. Na hii si conversation ya watu wazee, we young people. This is when it happens. So if you're tired with how you have lived your life, if you're unhappy with the decisions that you make, if you're not having fulfillment at the end of the day by how you have lived through your life, maybe it's time to just sit down and see and ask yourself the most fundamental question: am I just overestimating ourselves? Am I overestimating myself? Najichocha tu sana. Unasema kizungu mingi. Kizungu nayo, okay. Na unafaa ujiulize, unajichocha sana. Ama hii kujichocha, unajichocha ni vitu haziko. Ni vitu haziko. Wake up. Wake up, people. Wake up. Wake up. Until next time, until next Wednesday, ponder on the conversation on what I just put out there. If you feel like it resonates with you, you know where you need to do the work, yeah? And stay open for positive criticism. That is what will happen in this site. The show is about positive criticism and us being able to know and become aware of the self-destruct things we have, self-sabotage that we have, the willful blindness that we have, and work on those. So until next time, I hope you have a lovely week ahead of you and do better. Every day you learn better, just do better. Strive to do better. Life is worthwhile. Otherwise, your suffering won't make sense. You have to have meaningful suffering in this life. Make it count.